Oh, good. Just wanted to make sure I had enough light. Got on here early. I hope you look up there in the description box, and it tells you I want you to put some questions and comments. So I want to try something different, even though I've got my portion of what I want to say as a message, but I want to see how well I can do at going back and forth answering some questions, because I was on a Facebook Live with a good friend of mine the other day, Angie Drum, and she was so good at answering the questions as we went along. So I just thought I'd give it a try. And see, I don't mind giving her a shout out to say that that's what I'm doing, because we don't always have to take full credit for what's going on in our lives. We don't think of every single thing that happens in every moment. So there are times where you just need to let other people get the credit for something that you may be doing, and that's okay. But anyway, that's what I'm doing today, so that's why I got on here early, just as a way to, and I'm sending out some invites here. So, no, this is fun. I actually haven't done it this way before, so that's kind of cool. But that's what we're doing here. I see we got somebody in here. Holler and let me know who you are. But I'm just going through the list here, and that should be good. Oh, hey, Dewana Bivens, what's happening? How you doing? How you doing? Good to see you. Refresh me, because your name rings a bell whenever I see a tough name, because I know I'm name sensitive. So that's why I say, oh yeah, I met that person, but I can't remember where. So. But you got anything or comments or questions you want about Joy? Goodness, we got less than a minute, so I'm going to have to just go with my message. But again, I think my message will link up with any comments that we get on the broadcast. So welcome to Glue Wednesday. Okay, and so it's on the dot here, and I'm running a little late today. Not that that's matters, because again, it could be getting broadcast. So. It's the copy is going to be on there for anybody else. But Glue Wednesday is something that I created based on my word sensitivity, and a lot of times people use Wednesday. They call Wednesday Hump Day, and so because I like to play with words, I just decided that Hump Day has the connotation of the need to get over. Because we got to get over the hump. Even that's the long version for those of you who have only heard Hump Day but haven't actually heard how we say, yeah, you got to get over the hump. Even when you think about that Geico commercial, right? The camel, it's Hump Day. Okay, we got to get over the hump. Well, I decided that Wednesday is actually, for me, and for many people, Wednesday is the traditional middle of a 7-day week, that starts on Sunday and ends on Saturday. And so it keeps the weekend and the week beginning together. So I call Wednesday the glue, the day that keeps the week together. And then I decided that glue is Glue. God's love undoes everything. So I therefore extended the meaning to say that we don't need to get over, we need to keep it together. And that's what I hope to do, and I love doing each Wednesday here on Glue Wednesday. My topic today is joy, Joy. And for me, I in my book, Ac-Firmations, I have 3 different breakdowns of what joy stands for. The first one that when I first created joy was Joy, just one you, as a way of reminding people that there's absolutely no one else like you. Even though we always hear that cliche, there's no one else like you in the world. But the truth is there isn't. In fact, when I do my seminars, I always ask people, how many of you have an identical twin? And we get a show of hands. And whether someone raises their hands or not, my point is making that an identical twin is as close as we come to actually having someone else like us. So therefore, I like to remind people that it's important to live life on offense rather than on defense. And I use the analogy of going to a job interview. If you go to a job interview, and a lot of times we have a lot of angst and nervousness in going to a job interview, but think about it. If you don't have an identical twin and there's no one else like you, then guess what? that company does not have someone like you working there. So therefore, what you need to do is recognize that you could be interviewing on offense instead of on defense, because it's a situation where since they don't have anybody else like you, why do you have to have that nervous feeling of, oh, I hope that was a good answer. I hope they like this outfit. I hope they like the way I look. I hope the way they like my resume. Those are all defensive postures where we're hoping someone accepts us for who we are, when in fact, they don't have anybody like us. So really the interview is about whether or not you want to rent yourself out to this company, whether or not you are the fit. So true, they're looking to see if you're a fit for what they have already, but you're at the interview listening to see if they have a fit for how you can flourish in terms of being who you are. So live life on offense and recognize that there's joy, J-O-Y, just one you. And since there's no one else like you, whether, even I use the job analogy, whether it's interviewing to be at a job or checking out or interviewing to be in a relationship, business or social or romantic. That's what we're doing. We're always interviewing to see if there's a fit between us and another person. Well, that's the joy in recognizing that that person has never experienced anyone like you. So that's what you're going to find out in that relationship. So that's the first thing that I came up with when I created joy. Then I took joy to a religious level, and that was J-O-Y, because based on my Christian faith, and whatever yours is, that's fine, but you can at least understand where I'm coming from, and that is J-O-Y, Jesus owns you. That's the belief of those in the Christian faith who say, who we believe that Jesus died on the cross for our sins, and in the Bible. And in fact, in the Quran, they call Jesus one of the prophets, so they acknowledge the name, but not the use of his persona. And I haven't read the Quran, so let me not get too far and try to sound like a religious scholar and talk about something I don't know, which is a good point, by the way. If you don't know something that you're talking about, you can mention it, but not try to sound like an expert on it, okay? But Jesus owns you, and therefore as I connect that to the joy of just one you, and Jesus owns you, then I celebrate being me, because I know I'm celebrating whose I am. And that becomes the comfort in how I go forward in my life. What do you do to have comfort in going forward in your life? That's a question you want to ask on a daily basis. And then there's the third definition of joy that I came up with, and it's really actually the one I want to focus on today, but I just wanted to at least get those first two out because they are going to be base in terms of what we're talking about, and that is the J-O-Y of jealous of you. Jealous of you, J-O-Y. There are people who are jealous of you, and that's why you need to have that internal joy about celebrating yourself, because there's someone who doesn't want to see you be happy. See, they see the happiness in your life and the joy that you celebrate of being who you are, and they decide that they want to take that joy and tear it down. So they're jealous of you. But here's the funny thing that I noticed about us when we talk about that type of joy. When we talk about the people who are jealous of us, we tend to talk about people being jealous of us. We talk about people as if we don't have a person in mind. Whenever you have one of those comments, people don't want this and people want that, you have someone in mind of who you think is a negative antagonist in your life, who's trying to stop you from getting your dream or being who you are or celebrating you are. You got someone in mind, right? Yeah, thank you for the thumbs up. But we want to categorize as a people. Here's my point. Here's the reason I want to bring that point up. If you've got someone in mind, why do you keep them on board? If you've got someone in mind who you think is a negative influence in your life and that they don't want to see you get ahead, why do you keep them so close in your life? Who's that? I got to put my glasses on. Hey, Kim, if you've got someone who's that negative influence and impulse in your life, why do you keep them in your first 5 rows, which is what I call it, where you have the people who influence your life the most are the people in your first 5 rows. because those are the people that when you say something or when you have a wish, that's who you may share it with or you look to get advice from. So just as you are going to have those people in mind who are jealous of you, you need to find a way to move them out of your life. But here's the reason why we don't do it sometimes, because there's such a fine line between being right about the fact that that person is jealous of you and being judgmental. You know, because sometimes we're judgmental. Oh, well, that person is jealous of me, when when in fact, you know, we may feel that, you know, that's me being judgmental. Because I really don't know why that person did what they did to me or in my presence that makes me think they did it to me. So there's a fine line between being right and being judgmental. And so that's why sometimes we go on and make that statement, say, people are jealous of you. That takes us back to the first joy, J-O-Y, just one you, where you have to recognize when you know who you are, then you can take away that stigma of feeling that you're being judgmental and recognize that you're being right. When I know who I am, the people who come into my life who I think are detrimental to my existence, I'm not trying to say that they're going to kill me, but in terms of keeping my spirit where I want my spirit to be, those people who stop me from having that consistent flow, I'm not sorry. I almost said I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. I decide to move them out of my life, move them into a different stage. They may not have to go out, but they move out of those 5. They don't even make it to those 5 rows. They may not make it to my first 50 rows. You see what I'm saying? And there's the challenge, is that now someone else will tell you that you're being judgmental about who you don't want to keep in your life. Hey, Kevin, what a blessing. I've got an article that I'm going to be sending you about a book that I just started reading this morning called Invisible Scars. And I'm going to be sending that to you because it talks about how important it is to not let PTS, post-traumatic stress, become PTSD, a disorder, in terms of how the drugs can sometimes sway us into having a disorder when in fact we may just need rest. Okay, and now I try to summarize, and I only read one chapter so far, but your name came to mind as someone who I'm going to send it to, and in fact, Kim, so did yours, because I decided it might be a good thing to share with the cadre. So getting back to talking about being judgmental versus being right. When you're talking about your well-being, you have to make the decision that you are right to have the people and in and out of your life who you think make a difference for you. You've got to be right, because it's based on the decision, the information you have to make that decision. So don't decide that you're being judgmental when you feel that someone does not have the right intentions of what they're doing in your life. It's a tough decision to come to, by the way, and it's even tougher to keep it, because none of us want to be considered judgmental. But you know what? Someone will consider you judgmental no matter what you decide to do. The key is you have to decide how you feel about that. In fact, I was speaking with the military once in the Yellow Ribbon program where I speak, and I was speaking with an Army group, talking to them about how confident they need to be in themselves and how wonderful I think they are and how good they need to see themselves as, instead of being lucky, see yourself as being good and being able to rise to the challenge. You know, I'm pumping them up in my opinion, but also it was what I honestly believe, because I respect the high calling on the military family's life. I always say to them when I start my sessions, is that the government, America, asks our military, there's a high calling on the military family because America asks you to turn your emotions on and off at the drop of an order, and you do it. But are you stopping to give yourself credit for it? That's the challenge I make to my military families, to recognize that you are answering the call. So I was talking to a group of Army, of soldiers, about being confident, and one guy, he said it in a challenging tone, because he said, yeah, well, at what point does confidence become arrogance? And without even catching a breath, I looked at him and I said, when you decide that it is. You see, hey, Mark, what's up, fam? Hey, what's up, Joey? Good to see you. And how you doing, Joanne? Hey, any questions or comments, just put them in the box and I'll answer them. Thumbs up and hearts are also welcome, by the way. But my point with what I was making with that soldier is you become arrogant when you decide that you're arrogant. Someone will misread your intentions and your confidence as arrogance based on how they see themselves. And that's their internal struggle, not yours. So, someone will say to me, well, Sporty, you know what, you're kind of arrogant, but guess what? Those of you, especially you young people who came into this world, accepting Muhammad Ali calling himself the greatest, you may not know how disliked he was because his birth name was Cassius Clay. And he talked about when he started talking about being the greatest, it was when he began his boxing career, and he would talk about how good he was when he was going to have an opponent, and he'd make a little rhyme about what round he was going to knock the person out, and he did it. And so a lot of people did not like Cassius Clay before he became Muhammad Ali, and even after he did. They did not like him because they thought he was too arrogant. How dare he talk about how good he was as a boxer and then prove it? So a lot of our younger generations don't realize that that's actually the challenge that he went through, but he decided, you know what, I know who I am. He stayed true to himself, and he still decided to say, I am the greatest, because that's how he had to feel when he got into the ring. And that's how you have to feel when you get into the ring, because like I always tell people, the game is constantly being played, and you can't play from the stands. You have to get on the court, and in that analogy, you have to get in the ring. You have to be willing to get in and fight for yourself. And that's, again, being on offense. Who just joined us? Hey, Tina. And so you have to get on offense about how you defend your life based on who you see yourself as. So recognize that knowing who you are, it makes a difference. And what I want to add to your toolbox of life, and again, if you got any comments, go on and type them in the box there, and I'll answer them. And if you've got any thumbs up or hearts, go on and click on those. But one of the things I always shared when I did my life skills training was Charles Schultz's philosophy. And Charles Schultz, if you don't know, is he's the creator of the Peanuts comic strip, with Charlie Brown and Linus and Lucy. Charles Schultz is the one who created the comic strip for that. And he has a philosophy and creating what he calls a joy list. But here's what I want you to do. You don't have to actually answer these questions. I got 6 questions for you, but you don't have to answer them. Just listen to them and think yes or no. Do you know the answer to them? Here's the first one. Can you name the 5 wealthiest people in the world? In fact, go on and click that in there. Click yes or no. Hey, Kwame, what's up, fam? Can you name the 5 wealthy? You don't have to name them, but just click in yes or no whether or not you can name the 5 wealthiest people in the world. I'm going to wait. Go on and type it in. Put an N for no and a Y for yes. Come on, y'all. We had a live seminar on this Facebook Live. Can you name the 5 wealthiest people in the world? N for no, Y for yes. And then M for move on, Sporty, because they're not answering. Not a problem. Second one. Okay. Can you name the last 5 Heisman Trophy winners? The Heisman Trophy is the best college football player. N for no, Y for yes. Can you name the last 5 Heisman Trophy winners? I'll keep going. Can you name the last 5 winners of the Miss America contest? Can you name the last 5 winners of the Miss America contest? Number 4, can you name 10 people who have won the Nobel or Pulitzer Prize? Can you name 10 people who have won the Nobel or Pulitzer Prize? Number 5, can you name 6 Academy Award winners for Best Actor or Actress? Can you name 6 Academy Award winners for Best Actor or Actress? And lastly, can you name the last 10 years worth of World Series champions? Can you name the last 10 years worth of World Series champions? So those are the 6 questions that Charles Schulz said that you should answer yes or no, even before you name them. Now, here's what you want to do. You give yourself, you look at that yes or no, and the point is none of us remember the headliners of yesterday, because probably most of your answers were no, I can't name those, that full capacity of all 6. But no one remembers the headliners of yesterday. These were no second-rate achievers. They were the best in their fields, but the applause dies. Awards fade and tarnish. Achievements are forgotten. Accolades and certificates are buried with their owners. So Charles Schulz says, here's the second part, and see how well you do on these 6. Again, 6, yes or no. Can you list a few teachers who aided your journey through school? You probably could write those names down. And if you're watching the broadcast, go on in and put some of those names in so we can give shout outs to those educators. Can you list a few teachers who aided your journey through school? Question number 2, name 3 friends who have helped you through a difficult time. Name 3 friends who have helped you through a difficult time. Number 3, name 5 people who have taught you something worthwhile. Name 5 people who have taught you something worthwhile. Number 4, think of a few people who have made you feel appreciated and special. Think of a few people who have made you feel appreciated and special. Number 5, think of 5 people you enjoy spending time with. Think of 5 people you enjoy spending time with. And 6, name 6 heroes whose stories have inspired you. Name 6 heroes whose stories have inspired you. Wonderfully, if you're doing this, if you're watching the video and the reposting of this, you can name all of those people. I hope you will. But the point is, wasn't that an easier 6 questions to answer than the first 6? The people who make a difference in your life are not the ones with the most credentials, the most money, or the most awards. They are the ones that care. Pass this on to people who have made a difference in your life. And then Charles Schulz said, don't worry about the world coming to an end today. It's already tomorrow in Australia. Okay? But that's called the joy list, actually, which is why I did that exercise. It's called creating your joy list. And it's using those last 6 questions that we would use to create our joy list, so we can spend time, instead of worrying about the J-O-Y, people who are jealous of you. Think about the J-O-Y, the fact that there's just one you, and how these people on those second 6 questions have infused and helped you build upon that person. The teachers who help you with your education. What were the 6 things? The friends who help you through a difficult situation. The people who have taught you something worthwhile. The people who have made you feel appreciated and special. The people who you enjoy spending time with. And then the heroes who have inspired you. That's your joy list. And that's what you want to learn to focus on as you're going through life. Focusing especially on you. Remember, you are worth celebrating. And as you work on your joy list and the joy that you bring to your life as well as the lives of other people around you, that's what, excuse me, that becomes your focus and helps you see that you're worthy of celebrating. So say to yourself, I am worthy. I am exceptional. And each day, think of one thing that you like about yourself and one thing that you're good at. And I think I've said that on a previous post, but I say it again here today. Think of one thing that you like about yourself and one thing that you're good at. And as you start to, I hope that you'll write it down, because if you write it down, you'll commit to it and you'll get to say it. Because the truth is, even if you have a hard time thinking of things to say, you can say, I'm good at listening, and I like my ears. I'm good at seeing, and I like my eyes. I'm good at inspiring people, and I like the way I cook. You see, it's not so much what you use when you fill in those blanks. What's important is the exercise of saying, I'm good at, and I like mine. Those words coming out of your mouth make a difference. Not just thinking about them, but actually saying them. And again, if you write them down, it'll make it even more of a wonderful experience for you, because even if we go on a job interview, even if you're interviewing for college, even if you're having a conversation with someone, they're asking you, what are you good at and what do you like about yourself? And so as you get comfortable with saying, I'm good at and I like mine, you can answer those questions however they come, because they won't always come in that format of what are you good at, what do you like about yourself. But they'll say, you know, what do you like doing? Where would you like to go? How did you feel about this? All of those are asking those two simple questions. What are you good at and what do you like about yourself? So again, joy, J-O-Y. There's just one you. And even when someone said, oh, wow, Sporty, only you would come up with that. Well, then to me, they're saying without me, certain things wouldn't get done. And that's a reason for me to celebrate who I am. No one asked any questions, but you still can put them in when you do. When we I didn't scroll down, and some people joined us. I want to give them a shout out. Hey, Dorothy, you know I love you, my sister. And then followed by my sister in New York, Jackie. You know, if you've got any comments or questions you have about joy, put them in the comments. I will be happy to answer them. But I'm always going to be happy to celebrate you. And thank you for joining me on Glue Wednesday. Remember, Wednesday is the middle of a traditional 7-day week, because everybody's week doesn't start on Sunday or Monday. Some people's week starts on Thursday, as well as their weekend. So, you know, don't focus on getting over. You don't need to get over. You need to keep it together, because the better you become at keeping it together, the more you pass that on to someone else needing to keep it together, because someone's checking you out. Remember, we hear the same messages over and over again. It's not until our messenger delivers it that we get it. And we have to also recognize that we are someone's messenger. Someone's looking at you and they're finding a way to get through based on what they see you're doing. So give me some thumbs up and some love on that as we close out this broadcast. See you next week on Glue Wednesday. And again, if you've got a topic you want me to discuss, please put it in the comments box, or send me an email or inbox of that anytime at all, because guess what? I'm always going to be working on keep it together. It's what I do. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you for the love, the wows, the hearts, the thumbs up as we get ready to close out. And I really appreciate all of you for joining me here on another Glue Wednesday and another good day on this side of the ground. Thank you. Ciao.